This is Brian from Team 2 Shiny. I'm here with Rob Zetranowski with his deck profile today. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey guys, so I am going to be doing a deck profile for my Chaos Messiah build, specifically a very odd version of the deck. Most people have seen kind of like the arresters being played and stuff like that, but I don't think a lot of people understand why. I'm going to go into it a little bit as well. So let's get into it. So we're starting with Evolution Starvader Carbon, the standard starter for Starvaders now. A Colony Maker, once your opponent has a locked unit, shoved in soul, search for a grade 1 or less Starvader, put it on the board. You fill soul, you make a board, neat. Alright, so we're going to go with the grade 4s first. I'm playing 4 copies of Death Starvader Chaos Universe. Amazing first stride, amazing second stride, good hand control. Optimally, you're probably going to want it to be your second stride. You're not always going to get that, but you'll do it as much as you can. Next up is 3 copies of Genesis Dragon Amnesty Messiah and 1 copy of Genesis Dragon Excelix Messiah. Optimally, one of these is going to be your first stride. And then later in game, you're going to kill them with one of these two. Either you're going to Excelix them and they're not going to have an answer for your entire board, or you're going to Amnesty them and you're just going to kill them outright. Trigger lineup is really quick. 3 draws, 4 heals, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 crits. 4 of them being Paradigm Shift Dragon, amazing crit, shuffles back in deck, locks another unit, and is like I never really resolved the lock effect, to be completely honest. Mainly I just use it shuffle back in deck. People will try to counter triggers and then realize later in the game they're like, oh, you've seen X amount of crits, and then you hit them with Paradigm Shift, or triple crit them with the three Paradigm Shifts that you shuffle back in the deck, and they're like, but I've seen all these crits. So the grade 3 lineup is where things start getting a little bit messy compared to most standard builds. I'm playing 1 Starvader Chaos Bringer and 4 copies of Starvader Chaos Breaker Dragon. So Chaos Bringer is essentially just a 5th copy. I don't feel like you're able to pull off the Limit Break 4 effect, which pulls a copy of this out of the deck efficiently enough all the time without having to waste a universe turn, or your opponent being an idiot and having 2 cards on board already. And then also you have to waste your carbon to go get a Limit Break enabler and all this other fun stuff, and it's just not worth. So instead, I'm playing 2 copies of Alter Ego Messiah. Now most of the builds play 2 Bringer, 1 Alter Ego Messiah, but I feel like Alter Ego is a good enough backup grade 3, and sometimes the optimal grade 3 to play against decks. Certain G decks, or any deck that you want to keep a constant lock without wasting too many of your own resources. It also ends up turning on a lot of my combo pieces later in the game, and people like to argue this card is bad with Chaos Breaker just due to the fact that they both are fighting for the same resource, the soul, when Alter Ego actually has more access to the soul than Chaos Breaker does, and sometimes you don't want to retire your opponent's units. My grade 2 lineup is 3 copies of Starvader Colony Maker, the Sword Me of the deck. 3 copies of Companion Star Starvader Photon, which people will say you have to play 4, but to make up for it, I am playing 2 copies of Disorder Starvader Iron. A Radon mixed with Photon is completely worth. It's able to make columns and hit on its own. It can hit 18s, which are cross-red numbers if you're playing against problem decks like Brawlers, which can solo with their Vanguard anyway. Or it's just able to hit any vanilla 11k base. And then last but not least, 4 Arrestor Messiah, who's probably one of the biggest combo pieces and normally the reason that you kill people. If you don't know its effect, it's swing. If you have a Messiah Vanguard, after post-swing it locks itself, locks one on the back of either player's field, and then you get to set up for your big Amnesty play or Excelix play. Finally, we're getting into our grade 0s and grade 1s. I'm playing 1 copy of Starvader Dusttail Unicorn. Now, this is a trend that I've seen in Japan, so I decided to test it out and play it for myself, and I've been enjoying it. Essentially, it's if you have Carbon, you can search this out so you don't have to play this as your starter, and you still get the Counterblast 1 lock effect. Of course, for Perfect Guards, I'm opting for the PGGs, Flowers and Vacuum Cosmo Wreath, just so that you can get the flips that you need, the counter charges. Sometimes you don't see zinc, or your zincs get damaged, or they get shoved in soul, or you have to first ride them, so you don't always have zinc, and it's bad to kind of rely on that card. For my Starvader lineup, I'm playing 2 charcoals. I always end up having to ride or damage check one of these, so it's just a luck factor. Most of the time you're only going to play 1. 2 copies of Turmoil Starvader Zinc, which I was just describing. Your soul charge 2, counter charge, keeps your deck going, keeps your deck alive, and keeps your soul going. And then 2 copies of Starvader Voltline. The pressure card itself in this deck, nothing in this deck is really threatening until you throw a Voltline behind it, and your opponent is going to guard all day because they don't want cards to continue to be locked. Sometimes Voltline kind of backfires, and I have to keep a card locked that I don't want to keep locked and I want to eat because I need the hand, or because I'm trying to push them for game, but it is what it is. And then last but not least, I'm playing 2 Stride Enablers, Destiny Dealer, and the card that I haven't seen a single person playing with Chaos is Sacrifice Messiah. Now, I love this card so much. If you have a Messiah Vanguard, or Grade 3 or greater Messiah Vanguard, when a card is locked on either player's board, counter charge 1 and then +3 a unit on your field. You can literally have all your damage face down and still amnesty them if you have our friend Arrestor Messiah. So the major issue I noticed with the reason why I'm playing all this in the first place is because the issue that I noticed in most Chaos decks is they don't have power turns. They have a tendency to try to attrition your opponent out, and when you're playing against decks that have Legion mechanics or recycle mechanics like Musketeers, you can't out-attrition them. You will lose. You will lose that attrition game all day. So playing this combination of cards allows you to pressure your opponent without losing out on your lock effects. So ideally your board's going to be set up with this, and then like a column over here if you want it like that. You're going to swing with this, lock either this or an opponent's back row. It's going to chain the Sacrifice Messiahs together, countercharging 2. You can +3 these, and then swing with Vanguard, and even if you had, like I said, even if you have 5 face down damage, you just countercharge 2, and you unlock all of these, getting another attack. Now, if you have like double arresters, that means your total attacks for that turn is going to be 5. 2 off of these, 1 off your Vanguard, and then 2 more off the restand. And those 2 are going to be 22k columns, so 15k guards. Plus, not even taking into account trigger effects. The minimum damage when I mathed it out for this, or the guard for this turn was like 86k for no damage, and there's not a lot of decks that are able to just take 86k worth of guard out of their hand. So the deck plays reliably. None of the other pieces itself clog. And there's one little trick I want to point out with this deck that a lot of people don't realize, and I think is probably the coolest thing in the world. So, where is our friend Carbon? We'll just throw a random card up here. So say that you have 2 damage, and you have to first stride Alter Ego Messiah. So you stride Chaos Universe. You're going to counterblast 1, activate Chaos Universe's effect, or activate Alter Ego's effect, lock this card. And then you're going to counterblast 1 for Chaos Universe's effect and fail to resolve its effect. You're going to activate Carbon skill, put it in the soul, grab Zinc. Zinc effects, countercharge 2 off the top deck, or countercharge 2, soul charge 2 off the top deck, and now you've just set up an Amnesty Soul with 4 cards, not even including your ride. And you're on G2 at the end of your turn, so you're able to start drawing, which is probably going to help you get in the game faster.
Sweet.
So that's my deck profile for Chaos Messiah. I do suggest playing it and at least giving it a go. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people disagree with some of the choices I've made, but they do work out in the long run.
All right. Thank you so much, Rob, for your profile and everything. Tune in for our next deck profile, and we are soon to start doing feature matches over on Team 2 Shiny's YouTube page. Have a great day, guys.